We take the slow start, but if we have to fight, we take the fight. I mean, they were not scared. They were threatening loud. They were making life hard for BRU. Who would have imagined that we would see that scene? And if Headstart keeps this up, I think that they would set a good enough bar to keep them before until point rush.
If it wasn't for Twisted Minds earlier, Headstart could have just gotten out of that sticky situation and straight into the final circle. But speaking of sticky situation, let's see exactly what the flight path has got for us here. From Council Hall all the way down towards Mehmet, giving these teams anywhere and everywhere on the battlefield to hop on into. But it seems like Twisted Minds have got their eyes locked onto Al-Qadsiya early game.
Even Team Solid is in the vicinity, so Al-Qadsiya might be caught in the middle, especially at Mammoth, which there's not really much space for you to work around. You are basically relying a lot on the terrain and, of course, the big Mammoth skeleton at the side. It seems like they're going to take the fight. What was that from Nick7?
That AK-47 straight to the chest, and of course he gets traded out. That MP5, a little bit of a buff on that side, but Tattoo 13 quickly hopping on in to back his team member right back up. Picks up Trap 7 at the very same time. Inhaler in hand, Team Solid, quick hit and run momentum here. And of course, Twisted Minds, they're hearing all of these gunshots. They want to pay them a little bit of a visit, but they need to loot up first.
Yeah, King needs to somehow
just
hide from the smoke. Saming goes down thanks to Trap 7, who is still tearing up a storm, and Twisted Mind not off to a good start. Nameless has nothing to him as well. Only a glue wall that he just expended to get cover. So Team Solid basically controlling Mammoth.
Saming and squad had a beautiful opportunity to pull a surprise drop on Team Solid, but they stepped into that battle a tad bit too early. Saming not waiting for backup, and that is going to lead to Team Twisted Minds crumbling very early game. Exposi being given the role of backup player, reviving one after the other, bringing Saming back in here, bringing Exposi back in as well. The squad is solid, but the question is, will this setback from the very early game put Twisted Minds in a terrible spot for Game 3?
I think for Twisted Mind it would be fine because they can get the team back, but Al-Qadsiya is having a rougher time. You look at this replay, right? It was a trade earlier on. Nick7 traded for Remind, but the rest of Team Solid were just in a better position compared to Al-Qadsiya. That's why Team Solid was able to come out on top, and then they got more off of Twisted Minds, putting them at like 5 points at the start.
Headstart now in a lot of trouble. Very early engagement up against Loud. Sergeant overwhelmed by two players. Playing that flank, pincering him down. Shots from two sides, barely knew where to go. Anas loses his life as well. But the rest of the players from the side of Headstart, they are a little bit away from the rest of the team of Loud. But can they hit those early revives? We have to wait and see. Falcons, on the other hand, fighting Sabas, the key player from the side of All Gaming. And this is their opportunity tonight to wipe out this team. A beautiful chrono time turner dropped on in here. Falcons using that, but Bardo takes that shot and out to perform his best, but the glue wall will save Team Falcons for a little bit longer.
Justin wants the flank and instead gets 180 by On Fire. The backup just not solid enough from the side of All Glory Gaming, and they will just have to take the L as Al-Qadsiya gets wiped up off screen. AGG going on the run. Rafax is going to get chased down by the rest of Team Falcons. The Falcons have the eyes set from the bird's eye view, and unfortunately for AGG, they just have to try and cut their losses.
What can All Glory Gaming do in a situation like this? Circled around, pinced in confinement, confined to a tiny little area with one final survivor, making it work, pulling in those revives for the squad. They will hang on for the time being.
It's gonna be a tough spot.
On the other hand is in a very rough spot right now at Refinery, because Loud is just waiting for them.
Yeah, Loud dropped at Refinery and they have not moved it. There's no reason to move. Not now. Iago with the first one. Nero finding another on the side. Sergeant also getting gunned down by Lost 21. Everything's falling apart for Headstart.
Anas, the final player.
I think he's gone. I think he just flew past GG.
Yeah. I mean, it was a timely revival on Anas, so the team still stays alive, but I don't think it's going to be alive for much longer. Come on! He spots him out, flies right behind him. Anas has nowhere to go. He pulls out the Homer, tags him up. A124 response from Anas. And it's going to be the Trogon that does a majority of the damage. And the final shot as well. Hot shot. could not stand a chance against Loud.
The willingness for Cowan to make that call for the chase, right? The risk that they took, it paid off. Peter finding Bardo again from the side of AGG. Seems like they just could not escape the line of sight of Team Falcons. Seems like right now, on fire, going in, finding point number 6.
All Glory Gaming has no glory to fight for if Falcons continuously pummel them one after the other. 6 points picked up already by the Thai squad. And they're not done just yet. They did manage to see Justin maneuvering away from them. But thankfully, AGG at this point of time, they are split up on the map. So if they do go ahead to lose Justin, there's still one more player that they can bank on to pull the squad right back in. That's Sabas. That's the first player that got taken down. He has got ample time to loot up for himself and find some extra coins on the battlefield. So fingers crossed, AGG.
On the other hand, it's going to be Reta against PE Esports. Hong An with the first drop already. Vidalon needs to bring it back, but Don't Cry wins that 1v1. Reta Esports again just falling one by one. Hong An finds a twofer, and PE Esports successfully win the skirmish with Reta left with 1.
Making it look so easy as we speak about the team of PE Sport. Reta gets flattened. Wang An finding the final one. One more finding Sabas. Falcons still not allowing Team AGG to get away from them. Picking up most of their points just from one team, waiting for those revives and then continuously pummeling them down yet again.
Surprisingly, for a map like Kalahari, you would think that the game would slow down. But in fact, this was the fastest one we had so far. 9 more teams remain. Some of them not even having the full squad. You can see revives on the far end of the screen, at least from where we are looking at Dudes right now, who actually went to Refinery with the rest of the team, and Lao, they repositioned. They completely abandoned Refinery for the sub, but now they got to rotate back into the circle.
Of course, you've got the biggest threat on the battlefield, the burning Buriram. They most definitely want a little bit of revenge on some of these other squads. But they're keeping their heads low for the time being. The last time we spotted them was out in Stone Ridge, focusing on their loots, making sure they're well prepped and well stacked in coins for the next few engagements. AGG, on the other hand, a full recovery, managing to open up the bunker as well to get an extra layer of weapons on them so that they can be a tad bit more hardy in these engagements.
I'm gonna just quickly say that stage looks amazing.
Oh yeah.
The zone is shrinking. Oh, you can feel it. Feels like the world is closing down. Getting a bit more claustrophobic at this point of time. Second circle will be the state of the game. With Twisted Minds, they're in a decent spot, same as Team Solid. They might bump into each other again, considering that they did have this early fight, at the start of the round.
Let's see what Twisted Minds can do with this one, as Team Solid just in the compound right beside them. Over the maze, this seems like it's gonna be a tad bit messy, but the blessing in disguise here for both Twisted Minds and Team Solid, they don't really need to get into a early skirmish. They still do have the circle with them. No necessary movements needed just yet until this next circle closes in and forces them to reposition.
I do wonder what is going to be BRU's plan, because they just arrived at the sub just moments after Lao went to Mammoth. And this is very slow gameplay from BRU, and usually it happens either they want to keep the points, then first place, or they had a very, very bad start and they want to kind of recompose themselves. You don't get to play Kalahari often, at least not in the local league. So for BRU, very understandable. They gotta kind of bide their time and pick up the pieces. Yeah,
BRU is just one of those high IQ teams out there on the battlefield, right? Knowing exactly what works for them. And they do understand that, yes, they can flex their pure skills out there on the battlefield, but you've got too many of those teams that can match up to you in a 50-50 fight, especially when you've got the Brazilians in there hunting for their heads. And therefore, they want to really focus on getting those coins, getting all of those portal goals, especially so that they can go in for those quick hit-and-run action that they're always looking for out there on the battlefield.
And either that or you start an avalanche effect, right? You just start running people down, but at the end of the day, as good as they are still a 4-man team.
Yeah.
Things can be turned around on fire. Actually, taking an explosion in the face. It doesn't go down just yet. I mean, Gaming Gladiators will be the team that they might have to face somewhere down the road, as GG is in the middle. But for now, Team Falcons closer to P Esports with Team Solid on the west side of where they are.
And we also have to acknowledge the safe plays from Group B just cannot be avoided, because these are their final 3 games, their final 3 opportunities to make that submission for their spot in the top 12, because once these 3 games are over, no more chances. They'll have to take a rest as Groups A and C go up against each other tomorrow.
Especially, you don't want Group C to be taking the booyahs, right? The most crucial point. This is the most important day for Group B. The BRU, kind of speeding it up a little bit, realizing that that circle is not as close as they want it to be. So that means they might find themselves in the middle of a firefight. The team that they would run into is going to be Loud and Gladiators, depending on which direction they take. But looking at the trajectory, there's a chance if BRU ends up in the middle, and GG, they're going to be ready to receive that.
Whatever said and done about the performance of Buriram yesterday, if they re-drop the ball right now, you know, yes, they are at the very top of the leaderboard, but you really cannot tell how the matches, the rest of the 3 games for today and 6 matches for tomorrow, how those games are going to end, right? So you just need to take that insurance policy for yourself. If you're not going to be grabbing the final 3 booyahs of the day, at the very least, you want to be in the top 5. You want to guarantee those placement points for yourself. So super safe plays coming through for the 2-time world champs. And that's just the more deadlier version of them. Falcon spotting one out. Peter with a deadly gun in his hand, the Trogon. Tatsuya bursts towards the left-hand side, spots Sabas with the Charge Buster in hand, but he can't really do much. A great grenade tossed out by Cosq, just clips just in a tad bit, but On Fire just can't seem to follow up because of this maze of blue walls.
Yeah, Team Falcons, they are willingly running into the blue just to find the isolated member of AGG. So far, to no avail, nothing much has been gained. Rafox is trying to play that long range, and Peter's going to try and run it down Rafox. Very good identification. You take out the sniper, and that means that AGG have to refocus their attention, and Peter just wins the 1v1, coming online when the team needed the most. Cosq gets knocked down by the blue, but still On Fire. Now also putting in the work, pulling his weight for Team Falcons.
Smart play with the timing there. Peter now coming for the backup, and he gets a triple on AGG. This guy can flex it all the way through, single-handedly helping the squad crush AGG that was making so much noise.
That's the Peter we've been missing for quite a while, for so long in fact, right? Once upon a time, Peter, just like the fairy tale, is a one-man army, and right now he is soaring once more to the banner of Team Falcons. BRU seeing Loud with the relocation straight into the jaws of RQ Kazu. Yago is going to land and start putting up some glue walls. They don't want BRU to interfere with this.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. And now Loud with a very early skirmish up against RRQ.
Oh, no.
And RRQ, classic RRQ with all of those ice grenades. Glue wall melter is going to be dropped as well. Don't want to waste those pops out of Skylar just yet. Lost 21 gets down by a double nade. That's hitting 2 with 1, but who can find that finisher? No extra grenades to lend some action. A very high takes that action straight towards the rest of the players, getting a double for himself, and they flatten Loud. Amazing play from the Indonesians.
Absolute carpet bombing from the side of RRQ. There's just way too much explosives for Loud to even comprehensively deal with. GG, on the other hand, have to face the wrath of P Esports, losing Kochu and 18-0 right off the bat as P Esports takes control of the high ground. And GG, on the other hand, they gotta cut their losses. This fight has already ended.
A little unfortunate. The circle is just not on their side. They do have some medkits to play around with. One portal go to quickly reposition as well. But of course, we have to switch our sides over to the Twisted Mind squad as well as Team Solid. Team Solid had a great time taking those spot shots up against Falcons, but Falcons have been saved by their brethren from Thailand. Twisted Mind, they circle around. They find Waka. One more hitting from afar. Gets a double, and Team Solid now. A solid execution out of this lobby, courtesy of Twisted Minds.
Just basically pincered from multiple angles. Nothing much that they could do, but Twisted Minds have found some room to breathe, some room to perhaps fight the other teams. BRU trying to swarm the members of Esports cluster from afar. Get high, finds one already. Don't cry. Trying to hold the fort, the bastion of Vietnam. Nero is hiding behind his teammate. They have gathered, have rendezvous with one another. But this fight is inevitable. BRU slowing the pace down, but narrow once more.
The biggest fight of your life, PE Esports. Can you get to the final circle? Up against the two-time world champ. A great pop off of the Drogon. Wasana clipped just a tad bit. Narrow quickly backs away as well, dropping all of those glue wall melters. The ice grenades just making sure Buriram does not get in towards that center. And they are all using this tiny little bunker here just to hunker down. Those grenades can tickle them. Ice grenades forcing LBT and Narrow out. The Tatsuya will be used. But Buriram still have not managed to take that player down just yet. Moshi from afar, unusually playing that Drogon.
And Esports is holding on so well, they managed to back off into the circle and gain some distance. You don't see this often. Surgical execution from the Vietnamese team, but Saming from behind is going to spoil the fun. This could be the final destination of PE Esports, and that's going to open things up for BRU to move on forward. Narrow with his dying breath lands the nade onto Jonah, but that is just not enough. PE Esports in danger.
Jonah's going to get picked right back up here, but Team Twisted Minds have got a clear line of sight towards the players of Buriram. This is going to be that opportunity. And they riptide rhythm from afar, and that's going to drop the whole squad of Buriram. Wasana, can you be picked up? Mochi holding on for the squad here, hopping on into the circle as well. A timely move from the side of Mochi.
Just in an unintentional assistance from a third party, and Mochi still keeps himself alive and even managing to buy time for Wasan to stand back up. Still a disadvantaged position for BRU to be in. Can Mochi do it again? Time and time when the team needed him, he pulls it out of the hat. But right now, it might be too much.
Can he be that magician to once again pull out a miraculous run for the side of Buriram? Two players, Moshi and Wasana. If you want two players on your side, those two guys can get the job done. Falcons, on the other hand, their wings get clipped once again. They fall out in fourth. Buriram, they drop both players. Ma'al Saming, both helping each other out to flatten Buriram. And now it's a 4v4. It's Thailand versus Indonesia. RRQ coming in for yet another booyah.
And same can be said for Twisted Minds. This could be a back-to-back for the Thai squad. A scattered fight with Twisted Mind, trying to find the nest of where RRQ are hidden. Mao takes the shot to the head. Sami knows where he is. They want to break that glue wall and expose Mao, so he has to be positioned as the rest of RRQ goes 1v1. Sami, 6 health, doesn't win Abe High. And Razor, on the other hand, with the help of dudes, is going to try and buy time. Expose, he loses that. RRQ, surgical from every single position, takes down Twisted Mind and finds themselves a third one in the group stage.
RRQ. The backward swing of the pendulum has now once again changed directions, baby. This is where they pick up speed. This is where they guarantee themselves a